That's too loud. Oh, tonight we're going to read a proclamation this evening for Pride Month and for HRC in our community, so we can help bring us around. Whereas Hopkinsville is a community that values diversity and inclusion and is committed to equal rights and opportunities for all of its residents, and whereas every individual is equal before and under the law and has the right to equal protection and equal benefits of law without discrimination based on race, nationality, ethnic, color, religion, sex, age, mental, and physical disabilities. All human beings are, excuse me, are born free and equally in dignity and rights of lesbians, gays, bisexuals, transgenders, queers, intersexual, asexuals, LGBTQIA plus communities have made immeasurable impact to the academic, culture, civic, economic success of our country, state, and local communities. And whereas Pride Month began in June of 1970 on the first anniversary of the Stonewall Uprising in New York City, often known as the beginning of the modern LGBTQIA plus right movement, and the first Pride March also occurred in June of 1970. Each year in June, America comes together to celebrate and reflect on the LGBTQIA plus right movement in the communities. And whereas Pride Month is a time to recall the trail of the LGBTQIA plus community has endured and to rejoice in the triumph and trailblazing individuals who have bravely fought and continue to fight for full equality. Now, therefore, I, James R. Knight Jr., Mayor of the City of Hopkinsville, along with Human Rights Commission, do hereby proclaim June as Pride Month in Hopkinsville. We encourage all citizens to recognize the achievements of the LGBTQIA plus community, to celebrate the great diversity within our community and build a culture that inclusiveness and acceptance of all people. Signed on the 18th day of June, 2024. Thank you.
I don't know, they may have already got it took care of.
Good evening. Thank you, everyone, for being here. I'd like to call this June 18th City Council meeting to order, and we will call on Councilman Meeks for the invocation.
Let us pray. Father God, we give you thanks for the life that you've given us. We give you thanks for a community of concerned citizens. We thank you, Lord, for all of the people that live here. We would ask you, Lord, that tonight as we contemplate the issues that affect the lives of each and every one, we ask that you would guide our decisions, that you would help us in all that we think and say and do. And we will give you the praise and the glory and the honor. And all of God's children said,
Amen.
amen.
I would ever stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. All righty. Call on Ms. Brittany to call the roll.
Councilmember Francis,
Here.
Councilmember Smiley, Councilmember Marsh,
Here.
Councilmember Crabtree,
Here.
Councilmember Craig,
Here.
Councilmember Martin,
Here.
Councilmember Wilcox, Councilmember Meek,
Here.
Councilmember Lomberger,
Here.
Councilmember Keel,
Here.
Councilmember Bell,
Here.
Councilmember Handy.
Present.
And we do have a quorum.
All righty. Awards and recognitions, we have none on item 5 tonight for that. We will move straight into item 6, public comments. If anybody in the audience would like to come and speak, please come to the podium and state your name and address.
Hello, my name is Dwayne Shepherd. I stay on Hope Street. Okay, so I'm here to talk about my experience today. This is like just happened today, this afternoon, around 12 o'clock. So basically, these police officers were all to my neighbor's house. I had nothing to do with it. Sitting outside on my front porch, basically on my swing, enjoying a cup of water. Not bothering these people. I'm not a part of y'all's situation with this puppy and all these people over here. Well, anyway, long story short, I was like, can y'all not be parked in my front yard? Like, in my front yard. Basically, if you're on the street, you're on the street. But when you hit the grass, you're in my yard. So how long y'all gonna be here? Like, can you move your car? They was like, they can park wherever they want for however how long they want. Really, that's the response. Okay, cool, fine. Anyway, long story short, it was a whole interaction. The disgusting part about it was when it was all over with and they were done, I'm walking around in my front yard. I'm not bothering anybody in my front yard. So instead of them just pulling off and leaving, they stopped, rolled down their window. First off, when I did have a problem, I asked them what their badge number was. They were like, well, you want to talk to my supervisor? Why you sitting on your phone? What? Okay, fine. Okay, dude, whatever. I'm leaving this alone. I'm gonna try to stay calm. Fine. Well, long story short, when they're leaving, I'm in my front yard. I'm not bothering y'all. I'm on the phone talking to my friend. Y'all are leaving. Just drive off and leave. Don't stop, roll down your window and ask me if I still have a problem. For what? What y'all trying to antagonize me? Okay, fine. But then when y'all go up and you turn around to leave out, you still stop again while I'm in my front yard. You start blowing kisses. Basically, this officer badge number 414. When you go in there, you stop, you roll down your window, you blow kisses at me, and then you do this. So I don't know how to take that. Was I being harassed? Was I being intimidated? Or were you calling me a slur without calling me a slur? But y'all have some kind of oversight, so I would appreciate if y'all would do something about it. Because then when I did call and I had my complaint, I'm talking to Sergeant Cortez and I'm telling him, first off, when I did talk to somebody down here, the man called me ma'am. I'm like, dude, I'm not a ma'am. I was like, don't come. He was like, I'm sorry, I didn't mean. I was like, okay, it's fine because you didn't know. It's cool, whatever. Talk to him, done. So when I did talk to the Sergeant Cortez and I'm telling him what's going on, I first off, before we even start talking, I'm not a ma'am. I'm a man. I'm not a woman. Don't call me ma'am. He continued throughout this conversation to call me ma'am, kept trying to interrupt me when I'm telling him what's going on. He's like, ma'am. I'm like, sir, I'm not a ma'am. Don't call me ma'am. Again, stop. And considering they've done this to my face at the police station, I've asked them not to, I'm done because there was no reason to do it. So then when I tell him, don't call me ma'am again, stop. This is the third time I've asked you not to do. He's still calling me ma'am throughout this conversation. Okay, sir, you know what? Can you please stop? I'm not a woman. Can you please stop calling me ma'am? This is getting really, I'm telling you that this police officer just blew kisses at me. And your response is to continue to disrespect me in some kind of a way. Because at the end of the conversation, instead of you just letting it go, okay, thank you, fine, I call in, whatever, goodbye, you say again, well, all right, ma'am. I'm sorry, ma'am. I mean, sir, you have a good day. So if you're their sergeant and supervisor, are you really about to take care of the complaint that I have about this man blowing these kisses? So that's my complaint.
Okay.
They're disrespectful. Am I gonna get treated with some kind of respect? But okay, fine, I filed my complaint. Y'all do whatever y'all need to do. When I get the answer I get, and we'll go to the next step because I'm done. That makes no sense.
Thank you. Anyone else like to speak at the podium tonight?
My name is Jadon Hogan. I'm on East First Street. I had a couple comments or questions about the medical cannabis program for Christian County. I was wondering if you will be doing local ordinance to regulate cannabis, and will you be adding sensitive uses to that? Also, I wanted to find out if you will be creating a green zone for the properties so that all cannabis businesses have to operate in one area or certain areas beyond the GSI map? Or will it just be basically strictly based off what the GSI map says about being 1,500 to 1,200 feet from schools and daycares? And I also wanted to know, will you be banning any license types within the county? Will you be allowing cultivation, processing, dispensary? Because some counties are opting out of dispensaries for sales and are allowing just business for cultivation and processing. So I just wanted to try to get that information today because I seen that it was on the board for the council meeting.
Thank you, sir. Any other would like to come and speak at the podium? All righty. Seeing none, we will move on into mayor's comments. Got a few of those. Squealing on the Square, we had a great turnout for that. We all enjoyed ourselves, had a good music going on, a lot of good barbecue to eat. I hope everybody enjoyed it. We had a good time with it. Boys and Girls Club on Juneteenth celebration. I'd like to thank everyone that was there. We had a great time over there Saturday afternoon. We had a lot going on. And Miss Francis was having a good time and had a good time over there with everyone. The Boulevard Bash, we had a good time with that. Thank you, Amanda and Diane, for all you did for that to help make sure that went off without a hitch. We started there at Mr. Butler's on Walnut, and we went all the way down to the hotels there down there behind Old Charlie's and all right through there. So we had a lot of fun and a lot of good time going on. And even the new shopping center over there behind Hardee's was big part of it, and they enjoyed it. They were all out doing in the tents and everything. We had a good, at the marketplace ribbon cutting there behind Hardee's. We had a big oak thing out there on Friday afternoon. Travis and them were there with us, and Don Marsh, and was all out there, and Natasha. We always had a good turnout from the council being there. Thank you. Mr. Greenway celebrated a 100th birthday on Saturday over at the Pioneers Complex. We done a little thing for him. 100 years old. He served in 3 military branches in his years of 100-year life. He's doing well, having a good time still. Glad to see him enjoying his life. We also had the benefit at the Bend on Saturday night for Charles Turner and them and Jeffers Bend. We had a big turnout there. We had a lot there. They raised a good amount of money for that. I believe they met their goal. We had a lot going on there. Don't want nobody to forget about the museum on Mondays. Free Kids Day on Mondays at the museum. If everyone would like to come and bring their children to the museum, get them in and see about the museum and hear about Hopkinsville's history on that. And that rounds up mayor's comments. We'll move into reports and committees and guest speakers, and we'll go first with Tom Britton on agriculture.
Thank you, Mayor and council members. Item A and B are separate items. However, they're interrelated. So for brevity, I'm going to address them all in one presentation. As you know, we have been working to provide zoning for all parcels within the city of Hopkinsville. Clearly stated in our comprehensive plan. We started in earnest back in May of last year. To date, we've worked through about 300 properties with properties in queue, and we've got more that we're sending to you. The western area of Hopkinsville has been interesting. It has been a challenge, but at the same time, the western area of Hopkinsville, you've got established development patterns, and the future land use map is pretty clear on what that zoning should be, primarily low to medium density residential. Included here is just kind of a list of some of the rezonings, original zonings that we have processed through. As we finish up the western area, which we anticipate doing here in the next few months, and we move away from that area, we're going to encounter some fairly large agricultural tracts along the bypass Bradshaw Road. If I can get the next slide. Highlighted in green are some of these properties. Many of them 100 acres plus. Some have water, some have sewer, some have neither, some have access, some don't. In looking at the original zoning for some of these parcels, if we can go to the next slide, in referencing the future land use map, these areas are depicted as either mixed use or transitional. The reason for that is, especially when we look at the bypass, properties might go residential, they might go commercial, you might have some mixed use. And because development patterns in this area of the city, especially to the east, weren't well established, the comprehensive plan provided some flexibility as to future zoning. The problem we have encountered is that in our zoning ordinance, we really do not have a truly transitional or kind of holding district, which allows for that transition, some mixed use, but the expectation as water, sewer, and development plans become available, that these properties might transition to a higher intensity type of zoning. So starting back in November, our Planning Commission began the discussion of amending the zoning ordinance to provide for a transitional district that could potentially be an option for property owners, be an option to the Planning Commission, be an option to City Council as we look at zoning for some of these larger tracts. I will say in that the text amendment that we're currently looking at and council will currently consider, we're not zoning any property. This is just expanding the zoning text to provide that option over the next few months as we have discussions with these property owners. What these districts do, it provides for right to farm. In other words, the continuation of agricultural uses is absolutely 100% permitted. Residential uses aligning with an R2 standard, single family, but a little less density are permitted by right. This district also provides the option based on acreage for certain limited professional office uses by a conditional use permit. And the AT2 district allows for industrial uses under some very specific circumstances where a property is abutting an existing industrial district. We began having conversations with property owners who this might apply to or might be a viable option back in November. We've had several discussions. We've sent several drafts to them. I think a total of 3 different letters. This has had a lot of discussion at the Planning Commission level, but it is coming to you with a unanimous favorable recommendation for your adoption on both the AT1 and AT2 district. Mr. Mayor, if any council members have any questions as to the recommendation or the intent of these districts, I'm glad to answer them.
All righty. Does anybody have any questions right now for Mr. Britton on this ag district? All righty, seeing none, moving right along on that. Thank you, Tom.
Yes, sir.
All right, monthly financial statement. Ms. Clayton, would you come on down?
The motion to refer that.
Oh, I need a motion to refer that to council.
I was
I make a
gonna,
motion.
Second.
Got Amy and Steve and Amy there on that. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right. Any nays? All right, thank you. That passed. Thank you. Trying to get out of it. All right, Ms. Clayton, it's all you. I'm sorry.
That's all right. All right, so it's my pleasure to bring you the May financial statement tonight. First off, we'll start with interfund transfers. We had one interfund transfer in the month of May, and that was for a sponsorship at Challenge House for $2,500. That brings our year-to-date interfund transfers to $57,684, and the remaining balance in the interfund at May 31st was $42,316. We'll now look at our payroll tax. Payroll tax for the month of May through 11 months is at $19,354,068. We are running an increase in equivalent payroll for the year at 6.4%. So we will surpass last year's payroll tax. Our property taxes for the year through 11 months is at $5,670,371. It's also above last year. And our insurance premium tax through 11 months is at $6,615,744. That's an increase in equivalent premiums of 11.2%. Business license through 11 months is at $4,859,250. Which brings us to our general fund balance report. So our encumbrances, we started the year with $256,251. So far, year to date, we've collected $51,322,882, and we have spent $46,142,905. So through 5 months, we have a positive revenue over expenses of $5,436,228. And even though we did a budget amendment in May to cover the difference of $4,285,000, we are still probably going to have a surplus of over $1 million. But that will go down significantly in June because of the budget amendment. So let's go on to our fund balance comparison, comparing this time where we were this time last year. Last year, we had positive revenue over expenses at $4,957,672. So May kind of bumped us over last year's numbers, which was unexpected by me, but happy to report. The Municipal Road Aid Fund, we started the year with $353,291. We've collected $714,997. We have actual expenses of $975,452, giving us positive revenue over expenses of $92,836. We have a small amount of encumbrances, but still have $90,000 left unallocated. Our capital fund, we had started the year with $409,976. We've collected $3,314,967. Our actual expenses are at $3,092,081, giving us a positive balance in our capital account of $632,862. So now let's switch to our department expenses. Our departments are running okay. Admin's at 84.8, taxes at 78.5, information technologies at 93.9, and legislatives at 95.5. On the public safety side, the police department is at 88.8, ECC's at 100.5, the fire department's at 91.2, EMS is at 112.9, and fire prevention is at 68.2. In our Public Works area, Public Works admin's at 85.5, city maintenance was at 85.7, Fort Campbell contracts was at 75.1, service centers at 80.7, Parks and Rec is at 82.4, the Sportsplex is at 84.1, and the Aquatic Center's at 100.9. So overall, in the general fund, we're running at 92% of our budget through 11 months. The municipal road aid is at 94.1, and the capital fund is at 70.8%. Let's talk about our cash balance. We started the year with $15,158,964 in the bank. We've collected $51,322,882 in revenue, less our expenses of $46,142,905, giving our cash balance at April 30th of $20,338,941. minus our encumbrances of 68,000 gives us available cash at 20,274,92. So when we take that balance forward and we subtract out our reserve accounts, we have an unassigned cash fund balance of 18,182,821, and that is 43.5% of our adjusted operating budget. So when we compare that to where we were last year, I've already told you guys we're a little bit ahead. So last year we were at 42.1 through 11 months. This year we're at 43.5 through 11 months. And that concludes my financial report. I'd be happy to answer any questions you guys might have.
Chuck, you had a question?
After the most recent storms, are you anticipating any surprises due to that or anything else as we move into the last month?
I'm not. I mean, everything seems to be running about normal. Yeah. I'm not anticipating anything. Do you know of something I don't know?
I'm just asking.
Okay.
I don't like surprises.
I don't either.
Ms. Francis, you had your hand up?
Yes, I did. Just to inform ones that don't know, could you explain about the Challenge House Scholarship for me?
I'll let the mayor, I don't quite remember the Challenge House, the $2,500 sponsorship we gave them in May. Do you remember what that was for?
That, let me think just a second. Yes, I did it. It's for the Challenge House. It's to be held at, it's going to be part of their summer program, AT&T program at the Phelps Avenue Challenge House.
Mhm.
That's where it's going to be. The director and Mr. Littlefield come over and spoke to me about it, and we took that out of the interfund for that. I did.
Thank you, Mayor.
No problem.
Appreciate it.
Any other questions for Ms. Clayton?
I do have a question, but not for Melissa once everybody's done.
Okay. Any more? All right.
All right, thank you, guys.
Okay.
I just want to be sure we're not going to have an issue, but we had, a zoning 1 and 2. We only voted on 1. Can we vote?
It's my understanding those were combined. Was
Yes,
that
they were
motion?
combined.
So that's not going to cause a problem?
No.
Okay.
But no. All righty, I call on item D. I'm calling on our city attorney, Mr. Doug Willen.
If you look in your packet, starting at page 32 all the way through 71, and I'm not going to go through all of that. That is a packet from KLC explaining the new law on medical cannabis. Really good summary, more information than you need, but it's there if you ever need to refer to it. Basically, the new law will take effect January 1 for medical cannabis. There are going to be cultivators, producers, processors, and dispensaries. There are going to be 11 regions throughout the state, and I think there are 7 counties in our region. The reason that's important, they're going to limit the number of dispensaries and cultivators. They're only going to have 1 dispensary per county at this time. The license applications will start July 1 and will run through, I think, September, with a lottery if needed in October. So we're going to have some licenses that will be issued very soon. The reason that that's important, it won't take effect until January 1, but this body needs to take action before those licenses are issued. Because if there's a license issued and it takes effect and you don't have zoning in place, then you have no control because you can't be any less restrictive than the state. So you're going to be bound by the state regulations. At this point, the options that you've got, you can do nothing. And if you do nothing, then the state law will control. You can opt out and pass an ordinance where you do not want these businesses within city limits, and that would be by an ordinance. Or you could refer it to, by resolution, to a referendum to be placed on the ballot. One problem that would cause is just the time limitation. They've the most recent legislation sped up this process, and now we just really don't have much time to get all of this done. So it has to be done. The zoning has to be approved prior to January 1, and I would recommend, and I would defer to Tom on the zoning issues, but I would recommend that it be complete before that, to have all of that in place. If you do nothing, then there's still a chance that you may have to take some action if the county opts out. So if the county opts out, then you can opt in by an ordinance at that time. Either way, the issue is going to be one of what are the zoning regulations that are going to control. And I would defer to Mr. Britton on that. And I think at the end of his presentation, the action that we would need would be sending this back to CDS for consideration on the zoning, but I'll let Tom take it from here on that.
Yes, sir. And council members, I had briefed our plan review committee on the topic and much of what Mr. Willen has covered. If the city is of the opinion that you are not going to opt out, in other words, you're going to opt in, so to speak, for us to undertake zoning action, what we would ask is an indication from council by motion that you want to proceed with basically permitting and devising zoning regulations to provide reasonable restrictions to protect residential areas and other areas.
Councilman Keel.
I'd like to go ahead and make the motion to send that to CDS for the appropriate zoning. We need to get this going.
Got a second by Councilman Martin. All those in favor say aye.
Question.
Oh, question first.
So I know there are different types of businesses. This is a pretty deep subject that I've only scratched the surface, but I think there's 4 different types of businesses and facilities and sizes. Can all of those be done in the city? Like the cultivating and some of the other things that,
Right. And obviously how that ordinance is ultimately structured would be a council decision based on recommendation from planning commission. Our thought process, if you're going to address the issue, you need to address all of those different types. Now, the zoning districts that a cultivator is permitted in versus a dispensary obviously might be different, and there might be some different requirements on distancing and other things. But our thought process, or my thought process, obviously pending your final action, would be to address them all.
I agree with that. I just want to be sure we're doing that
Yes.
as the proposal comes forward to us.
We're going to address all 4 issues, and if there's any more, we will bring it and let you know what it is, so we move forward with it.
I think something else that would be beneficial for council, and like I said, I've researched and looked at it, and it's pretty deep. I would like to hear from somebody in the medical community, and I'd like to hear from the police chief and other subject matter experts, because like I said, I've just dug surface. They've been looking at this and the medical part of it a long time, and I know it's been successful in places and not so successful in others.
Right.
But I'd like to hear from them when we get to that point.
All right. Be more than happy to get them in here to be talked to us and see what they got to say. Because every time we have a discussion, me and Doug and Troy, we end up with more questions than we got answers every time for some reason. But, on that, Don, you had a question there a while ago, sir?
I was just gonna ask, I'm sorry, I was just gonna ask Mr. Willen or Mr. Britton, what your feeling is, if you have any feeling as to whether or not, I know you're not speaking for them, but if you have any intuition about whether or not the county might actually opt out.
As of today, we do not know.
All right, so it's a definite maybe.
Yeah.
Okay, so you don't
Jerry has
really-
not got a decision made yet.
Okay, I got you.
But
And then
under
so-
either scenario, that will not tie your hands. You still have the opportunity to opt back in by ordinance if the county does opt out.
Right. So I feel a little bit like Chuck does, is that, seeing what medical cannabis has done around the country. We haven't had the experience in Kentucky so much, but I just wanted to say that, you know, the benefits, as opposed to what the, you know, consequences may be, are the things that, you know, we really want to address.
Right.
You know, because we want to ultimately meet the needs of citizens that have a medical need, that this might be a benefit to. And I think it would be good to hear from the medical community, as well as maybe the good, the bad, the otherwise, from some communities that have not had a great experience in this and how they've dealt with it, as well as just the citizens' needs for what we have, as far as is concerned, to the word, try and protect them, to provide safety for the citizens.
All right, we'll do that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thing, Mayor.
Yes, sir.
I'll say this, I sat in with Troy and some others on a webinar,
Mhm.
and the way this was laid out, and I don't get impressed by government very much, but I thought this was very well laid out. And, you know, it seemed like there'd been a lot of thought over a long period of time, and I did like what I saw in the protections and things within it, so.
We'll get you more information as we get it, because we are studying every day. Troy's, every time you turn around, he's on one.
So Mayor and Council, the governor and the legislature has established a Department of Medical Marijuana. They do have a czar, if you will. We can reach out and see if one of those experts who've done the research and study, because we're not going to get much experience from communities since we're all just starting.
Right.
But we can see what research and what information he has. And if he either can Zoom in or come physically, we'll meet with you and answer all questions. We can put in a request.
Okay. Any more questions? Conversation
Not at
about
this
it?
time.
But Troy, I was gonna say, if y'all can get that lined up, just, if you want to just like throw it on a committee of the whole meeting or something, just throw it on there, just throw it on the business list and let it ride. Everybody wants it, just be sure it's on there.
All righty.
The vote.
All right. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All righty. All right, that passes. All righty, we'll move into item 9, approval of minutes.
So be it.
Second.
A motion by Natasha and Ms. Meinberger. All righty. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, moving right along. Item 10, ordinance 18-2024, Shadowwood Estates, first reading.
Amending the zoning maps of the city of Hopkinsville, Kentucky, zone properties located in Shadowwood Estates. Whereas Community and Development Services initiated a zoning map amendment by Resolution 2024-02 to assign the original zoning designation of R1 Single Family Residential District to properties including rights-of-ways and easements located in Shadowwood Estates. And whereas Community and Development Services made favorable recommendation at their May 20th, 2024 meeting for City Council to approve original zoning application R24-5-1. And whereas City Council concurs, said recommendation is in agreement with the Hopkinsville Christian County Comprehensive Plan, and significant physical, social, and economic changes have occurred warranting the zoning of the properties. Now therefore be it ordained by the City Council of the City of Hopkinsville, Kentucky as follows. Section 1, pursuant to KRS 100.211, Hopkinsville Code of Ordinances, Community and Development Services Resolution 2024-02, and recommendation dated May 20th, 2024, the properties listed on Exhibit A attached hereto and incorporated herein, and as further described on Exhibit B attached hereto and incorporated herein, are hereby zoned R1 Single Family Residential District. Section 2, if any section, subsection, sentence, clause, or phrase of this ordinance is held unconstitutional or otherwise invalid, such infirmity shall not affect the validity of the remaining portions of this ordinance. Section 3, all ordinances or parts of ordinance in conflict with this ordinance are hereby repealed. Section 4, this ordinance shall take effect after its passage and publication according to law.
All right, need a motion?
Motion.
Don, Jamie, all righty. Any discussion? Call the roll.
Councilmember Martin,
Yes.
Councilmember Meek,
Yes.
Councilmember Lomberger,
Yes.
Councilmember Keel,
Yes.
Councilmember Bell,
Yes.
Councilmember Handy,
Yes.
Councilmember Francis,
Aye.
Councilmember Marsh,
Yes.
Councilmember Crabtree,
Yes.
Councilmember Craig.
Yes.
And that does pass on first reading.
All righty. Item 11, municipal order 19-2024 FY 24-25 intercity res budget.
Hopkinsville City Council hereby adopts the attached 2024-2025 inner-city residential enterprise zone budget.
So moved.
Amy, Travis? Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Any opposed? All righty. Item 12, executive orders 14-2024 Board of Ethics.
Effective July 1st, 2024, Christy Madian shall be reappointed to the Board of Ethics as an alternate member. This term shall expire June 30th, 2025. And we do need a motion and a second.
Motion.
Second.
Don, Jamie? All righty. All those any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All righty. Executive Order 15-2024 Human Rights Commission.
Effective July 1st, 2024, Brittany Bogard, Joyce Brooks, Nikki Chambers, and Reverend Stephen Spicer shall be reappointed to the Human Rights Commission. These terms shall expire June 30th, 2027. And there's no action necessary on this one.
Executive Order 16-2024 Housing Authority of Hopkinsville Board.
Effective July 1st, 2024, Gay Wilson shall be reappointed and Sharon Boyd shall be appointed to the Housing Authority of Hopkinsville Board of Commissioners. These terms shall expire June 30th, 2028. We need a motion and a second.
Dan and Travis,
Second.
Jamie. I'm ready.
Oh, me down.
Here we go, boys, here, ladies, here we go. All righty. Motion and second. You got any discussion on this? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All righty, thank you. Executive Order 17-2024 Hopkinsville Christian County Convention Center and Visitor Bureau.
Effective July 1st, 2024, Heather Shoemake shall be reappointed as the hotel representative to the Hopkinsville Christian County Convention and Visitors Bureau. Effective July 1st, 2024, Don Pemberton shall be reappointed as the Christian County Chamber of Commerce representative to the Hopkinsville Christian County Convention and Visitors Bureau. These terms shall expire June 30th, 2027. There's no action needed.
All righty, now we move into item 13. Any other we need to discuss tonight? Any other? No other. All righty, we'll move into council members' comments then. Jamie?
I just want to let people know, I put the word out. We're doing a Bloom Up Bryan Street on Saturday morning, starting at 9 a.m. We're asking for volunteers, so if you want to come out, volunteer, bring your gloves, bring some trash bags with you. We're going to pick up trash, and we're also going to be placing some raised beds at each resident. We're going to fill those with dirt, fill them with some plants. I've had some requests for tomatoes and specific things. So come on out. Let's get dirty. Let's mow some yards. Let's pick up the city of Hopkinsville and make it home for some people there. Everybody's welcome, and we're serving lunch.
There we go.
So there's food. Come on. Starts at 9.
Anybody else? Yes, sir.
I just want to ask, do we have an update on the downtown entertainment district and where we're at on that?
We're not done with it. We just had a meeting on it before we got here at 5 o'clock. We're working on that right now. We're still moving forward. Doug's got a bunch of notes and going back and working on some more for us. We just had that discussion.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Any more? I'll call on Councilman Meeks there.
So I have a quote from Andrew Jackson. Every good citizen makes his country's honor his own and cherishes it not only as precious, but as sacred. He is willing to risk his life in its defense and its conscience, that he gains protection while he gives it. And with that, I make a motion to adjourn.
Motion. Got a second by Chuck Crabtree. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for being here tonight.
That was easy.